Hi, everybody. I'm Bill Sanders, and this is Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection. Today, we're going to talk about what I call orphans. These are models that have been discontinued. And today, I thought it'd be sort of fun to look at the Holy Trinity, the Vacheron Constantin, Patek Philippe, and Audemars Piguet. So the reason for doing this is that I think you can find, again, this is a place where you can find some hidden gems, some very good watches at decent prices, or at least somewhat affordable. They may be a little affordable on the higher side of affordability, but that's better than being up in the sky where we can't reach them at all. you know. So anyhow, okay, well, first one I want to talk about is Vacheron Constantin Royal Eagle. This is a date chronometer. And this particular one was originally $21,000, and the price that I found on this one dealer was $8,800. Now, most of these are pre-owned. Some of them may be new old stock, but these were simply what I tried to do was to find the lowest price that was offered anywhere. And like I said, some of these are, probably most of them, are pre-owned prices. This one is an automatic, and we had looked at the Royal Eagle chronometer, not the chronometer, but the chronograph. And this chronometer has the day, the date, and then small seconds. It's the hand date at 3 o'clock clips into the 2 and the 4 and totally covers up the 3, and then the one at the day subdial at 9 o'clock covers up the 9 and clips both the 10 and the 8. I don't know why I like that style, but I do. And I know it drives some people nuts. Maybe that's why it's available. Who knows? But anyway, this is one that, for $8,800 to get a gold Vacheron Constantin, not bad. Passement. All right, this next one is, I don't know if we looked exactly at this one or not. But it's another Royal Eagle, but this is a chronograph. We had looked at chronographs, and it's got a caliber 1137 in it. This particular one is stainless steel. I think it's a gorgeous watch for a chronometer, and the price is $8,000. Again, we're talking about a Holy Trinity watch, and we're talking about a chronograph, and this one looks to be in very good shape. Anyway, it's this, like I said, you have a beautiful watch. It's very classy. And by the way, too, all of the watches that I found were from the 2000 or newer date. I didn't want to go into a lot of old vintage ones, which is, you can find good deals in the vintage if you know what you're looking for. But I thought, well, I'll take some ones that are more recent. This one is like, and the last one, they're from around 2005, right in that era. I think they made them all the way through 2009. So, I mean, they're not vintage by any stretch of the imagination. And I know if you're looking for a chronograph, and they're also looking for a high horology, this is it. It's like the golden, the Holy Trinity of high horology. Okay. I know a lot of people realize that is a marketing name, but that's okay. It's a good watch. All right, now this next one, a lot of people may have seen it, and they take a look at it and say they discontinue this. Well, it's about time. I don't think so. I was very surprised that they discontinued this watch. Well, not only this watch, but the entire 1972 line. What happened in 1972, Vacheron had a watch coming out that looked something like this one. But at the same year, they won what was called the Prestige de France. And it was a big deal because the watch company had never won that award. It was for design and some other things. So they had three that they built. The first one they had already done, and that's the one that looked like this. The second one is one that I got a few years ago. And it was, I don't know why, I did then and do now. I just love this watch. I don't wear it that much. It's a very formal watch, I suppose. And it has a Frederick Piguet movement in it. Now, on this one, on the latest one, now this particular model came out in 2013, so it hasn't had a very long stretch, and it is incredibly formal, beautiful looking watch. And so what happened? Well, I guess they just weren't selling for whatever reason. And I think perhaps it's because it was so formal. Now, the movement in it, to me, is even more interesting. This one, like I said, is a very small Frederick Piguet. However, the one in the newer one is one that was developed between 1952 and 1955. It's called the Reference 1003. At the time, it was one of the smallest ones around. It's got a 31-hour charge to it, which isn't very long, and it's a hand-wound movement. 31 hours, like I said, that's not too long, but it has a 2.5 hertz movement, which I just love. And it's, to me, it's a gorgeous, really a gorgeous, very unique watch. And, but, you know, this is the kind of thing that you'd probably want a black or even a white tie to go with. Now, since they've discontinued it, you can find some deals. The big problem with this model and this one, this is the second one and the first one, there aren't that many. I don't have a price on this because the prices that I saw wasn't quite sure about the source. Some of them were, you know, like call for the price, and when that happens, that means they're probably pretty high. But you can find some pretty good buys on any one of the three versions of what's called the 1972, based on the Prestige de France 1972. Okay, moving right along. Now, and again, they're orphan. This was discontinued, I just think, you know, a year or so ago. Short life, but boy, what a neat watch. Okie doke. This one, the Patek Philippe Neptune, again, this was another one we had talked about not too long ago. And I think we talked about the chronograph version of this. Now, this one is one I happen to really like, and a lot of people have told me how much they don't like it. And okay, that's all right. The more people that don't like it, the more that are available for me. That's the way I look at things. Now this one, the Neptune, is sort of part of the Neptune, Nautilus, Aquanaut group of sports watches from Patek Philippe. And it's a little smaller, which a lot of people like. This one is 36.5 millimeters. It's not one of those great big frisbee size watches that a lot of the sports watches have gone to. Now, this is more of I don't know how you would define this watch. It has a salmon dial, and it has what I call sort of the green glass green, that creamy colored green for the hands. Probably part of the loom is what it is. It sure is nice looking now. Love the bracelet. I really like the bracelet on this guy. And now when you flip it over on the back, you don't have a much plainer back than that. It's it's just plain back. And this particular one is steel, and it's got a date window at 3 o'clock. It's got 3 Roman numerals because of the date window takes up the whatever you would put at 3 o'clock. I don't know, man. This is something I really like. I'm going to go broke just making these videos because I keep finding things. Oh, I got to have that. This is one I happen to like a lot. Again, I know it's probably not to everybody's taste, but it's an orphan. And if you can't afford or can't find an Aquanaut or a Nautilus, this would be a cool one to have. Now, this here is the another version of the Neptune. This one has a moon phase and a hand date and a power reserve indicator. And the first time I saw this, I thought, boy, this thing is crowded. But then I realized that it's not so crowded. What they did, there are no numbers between 3 and 9. So the 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, they just left out. I have a watch like that too in my Kristen Vanderklaw. And then I thought, wow, now that is really cool. Here you have a power reserve indicator. You've got a second hand over between the 4 and 5, or a second subdial. And then you have the hand date and the moon phase together over around 7 o'clock. And then they have that wonderful bracelet with it. This is another Patek Philippe Neptune. So this is another one. I think, man, wow, would I really, really like to have this one. Well, of course, that's my problem. too much to like. Okay, now Patek Philippe recently dumped their gondola line. Naturally, gondolas were ones that I really liked a lot. I have a little Calatrava from the 60s, but that's like very much of a vintage one. It works perfectly, but I've always wanted the Patek Philippe Gondolo. And now these are from the earlier part of the 2000s. And I have the reference number because I know that Patek Philippe owners know all the reference numbers and they understand that. But it's got some really good buys here. The one up at the top left up there is the one that is the crowded numbers. Why in the world they made it that way? Why didn't they make the numbers smaller? On the other hand, when I started looking at that for a while, I said, that is really different. That's a very different looking watch. Yeah, the numbers are crowded, and it gives it a different kind of feel to it. So I'm always surprised what styles grow on me after, some people, they stick their tongue out and they put a barfy thing up there. Okay, like my mind's closed. I'm not going to look at that watch, but some of the ones that are the most fun, I found out later about that. Now, the 384-2R, and again, the values that I have are actually like 8,000, 9,000, and 6,000. Those are rough values around that number. Some probably are lower, some higher, but that's sort of the neighborhood they live in. The 3842R, now this has a tonneau shape, but I'm pretty sure it's got a round movement. I'll talk about that in a second. And this one is in gold. I think all of them are either yellow or white gold. I don't think any of these are steel. I could be wrong, but I don't think so, especially these three. I think they're 2 white gold and then the yellow gold in the middle. So these are more formal and I think a lot more interesting. The 502 or 5024J, I really like the dial on that a lot. It's sort of got a faded salmon to it, and it's a neat watch. Now, this next one is the Gondolo that I have wanted ever since I started collecting, and I don't know why I haven't gotten it. There's 17,000 reasons right there that I haven't got it, but I always find something I like better. And even though I like this one a lot, and I always ask myself, well, I got so many dress watches, where would that one go? And okay, a couple of reasons I like it. One, I just like the looks of it. I like that particular style. It's sort of a 40s Art Deco kind of look. But the other reason is the movement. Now here they have a shape movement, the 25-21 Rec PS. and it's got the Patek Philippe logo on it, seal of approval. But look at how the bridges sort of swim across the center, and then the two come up opposite the balance cock. I don't know. I just think this is the coolest watch. I really like it a lot. That's I'll keep on liking it. Maybe one of these days the right one will come along at the right time. Next, we have the Audemars Piguet. And in other videos, I've talked about the Edward Piguet as one that I think is a good buy, because, and this, again, these are all discontinued models. But I don't remember if I ever really talked about the Edward Piguet chronograph, because I never thought of the Audemars Piguet, Edward Piguet, as a chronograph. And I found this one, and I really like it. And I don't like black dials, but I like this one. Boy, this is the coolest watch. It's 18 karat gold, caliber 2385, and it has a Frederick Piguet 1185 base to it. 3 hertz, that's something else I like. The chronograph, column wheel chronograph. Man, I tell you, this is a neat watch. I guess with a chronograph, something in my head says it's got to be made out of steel because it's a sports watch. Well, be that as it may, this gold one, I don't know why I like it so much, but I do. This already has really tempted me. You can see from the strap on the top up there, it's been around. I'd probably, if I got this, I'd replace the strap. And like everyone else, I wouldn't know what to do with the chronograph. I like the way they have it set up. And it's hard to see, but the way the numbers are, you have a big 1 and then a little bitty 2. The subdial, I think, oh, wait a minute, that's one of the chronograph subdials at 3 o'clock. Then between 4 and 5, they put the date, which I think is cool. And then again, at 6 o'clock, you have another subdial. And then on the corners, you have these larger numbers. And so you can see the 8 and then 10 and then the 11 and 1 are really big. There's something about this watch that I just find fascinating. So anyway, and it's at $7,000. I don't know what these things are new, but they weren't $7,000. I'll tell you that. Now, this final one is another one that we talked about some, and again, it's another chronograph. Perhaps the reason I have so many chronographs here is because I really don't have a chronograph. I have the Monoretre Pont Beauvais, and it does have a chronograph to it, and it's a nice little one too, a little Valjoux chronograph in that thing. But it doesn't feel like a sports watch because it's just doesn't. It probably is, but that's the way it feels. This one I found, wow, what an unusual, interesting watch. $6,000. Now, the movement, it's got a 42-hour power reserve, which is sort of like you wind it up on Monday and you can use it all the way through Tuesday, and then have to wind it up again for the next couple of days. Frequency, well, it's an automatic, so you don't have to worry about it as much. It's a 4 hertz frequency, 28,800 vibrations per hour. It's not bad, it's typical. But $6,000 for Holy Trinity? Different looking watch. Roman numerals are the way they're set. A lot of them are clipped. Some of them got disappeared. Look at at 3 o'clock. Look what they did with the 3, the Roman numeral 3. They just whacked off the bottom, but it's clear what it is. The 5 and the 7 got clipped, and there's no 6 o'clock. But it's an interesting one, and all of the subdials have that same millenary shape. Now, the millenary, they kept the women's versions. I pretty sure, but I don't think they're making the men's version anymore. It's just a recent Orphan. On this watch, on the 1972, they had a thinner version of this with quartz, and it was dolled up with diamonds and things like that for the women, and it turned out to be extremely popular. So the guy's version wasn't as popular. I happen to like it. So these are some orphans, some Holy Trinity orphans that you might want to take a look at for, I don't know, look what I got. Anyhow, well, listen, I would like to hear your comments on this, any ideas you have. And if you'd like to subscribe, this is an invitation to do so. Till next time, this is Bill Standards for Watch Art Side, the art and science of watch collection.